Eye on perfect day from Max's perspective. Just sum it up if you could. It just looks like, well, for the rest of the field, everyone's going to be going, right, how are we going to beat them anywhere this year?
Well, look, I mean, a great team race for us to get another one too, here particularly. And, Max starting on the hard tyre, there was a more risk with that. Our simulations were telling us it's actually a worse race, but where it potentially gained was if there was a safety car later in the race. So his engineering team wanted to take that choice, and he made it work without the safety car. And the crucial part were probably from lap 20 to lap 42, where his pace on that worn tyre, well, that was where he was able to match and better at times Checo's pace. And of course Checo knew exactly that 19.8 was the magic number to keep him behind. But then of course, having gone that far with then the soft tyre, in the end, it was an easy pass for him.
You talked about how good the medium was supposed to be in simulation. What was it that Sergio was struggling with? I heard at the beginning he was struggling with the front tires. What was the problem that he couldn't keep up the pace?
Well, he didn't really have a problem. He was managing the tires. I think it must be a really hard discipline to drive within the car and look after that front right tire, because he knew it was going to be vulnerable. And then once the tires had all nicely come up to temperature, then he started to push and he started to extend that gap. But the car's heavy on fuel and moving around a lot, and he did a great job of managing that.
Do you think that was a mistake in a way, that he didn't push sooner? I know it's easy to say now, but with Max, he was at the end of his stint. He knows he's given these tyres back and putting a new set on, so he can give it his all. Do you think Checo should have just gone, you know what, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to come out in front, and if he catches me, he catches me? I think
it's so easy with 20/20 hindsight, and knowing how far the tyres went into the stint. I think the nervousness was what were they going to do on that surface? Were they going to open up? Were they going to grain? And I think with hindsight, Checo look at that and think maybe I should have pushed harder in the first stint to put more air between me and him. By the time he emerged after the stop. But of course you don't know that at the time. And I thought the two of them raced each other, raced fairly, which is what we asked this morning. And for us as a team, a great result and performance.
The commentator, David Croft, was asking you, whether potentially you could have started Sergio on the hards, but as you're saying, if the data said that wasn't the way to go and everyone around him was probably going to be on the mediums, kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean,
well, you can see everybody around data was coming up with the same answers, and the highest probable point score was actually for Max to start on the medium. And to be honest with you today, I think with the pace he had, it wouldn't have mattered if he'd have started on the soft or the medium or the hard tyre. It made it an interesting race because he had to manage that tyre early on. But his pace, as it has been all weekend, has just been outstanding.
You guys are strong in almost every way that I can see. Where is it that you look for any improvement from here?
Well, you're always looking to improve, and you
where?
You can't stand still. Every area, there's always something that we can improve on, and I think that you learn a lot at every Grand Prix and out of every situation, and the team's operating at such a high level, and it's not just what you see here; it's what's going on behind the scenes. The support from back in the factory, the way that the whole team's operating is phenomenal.
But you must be thinking this is the most dominant car you guys have had, the most dominant Red Bull we've seen.
Well, 5 races, 5 wins, plus the sprint, 4 1-2 finishes. We've never ever had a start like this, and we're kind of wondering where are the others, and because we haven't. We've made a normal step what we would think over the winter, and I think it's more that where did Ferrari and Mercedes go? So they're working hard on, I'm sure, big upgrades for Europe, and with the penalty we have to develop the car later in the year, it's important for us to get as much fresh air as we can between ourselves and the opposition at this stage.
That was going to be my next question, Christian. For the rest, perhaps, that are looking for crumbs of comfort, do you think, when exactly do you think that might start to hurt you a little bit? Is it hurting you now?
I think you'll see from the next race. I think there's big upgrades coming, and we're just having to be super selective in terms of what we test and how we develop the car. And thankfully, the car's got off to a great start, and therefore we're not having to solve big issues and big problems. So we're able to focus on those incremental gains. But I do expect it still to converge later in the year.